Hello. So I'm gonna do a quick essence overview for Windwalker Monk, real quick. I've been playing around with them on the PTR. I want to go over the ones that you might want to look out for next patch, the ones that are not that good, and the ones that have been buggy but have been fixed apparently. I want to check those out. But anyway, let's get in the game. See here. So starting off, the best essence you can get for major powers is Conflict and Strife. By far the best. It gives you reverse harm as an ability, which is very good. When you're level 3, gives you when you're stunned, the defensive benefit of reverse is doubled. Useful. And spelling, interrupting, or applying a loss of control effect grants a stack of Strife. Strife is the minor power, and then versatility granted by Strife is doubled for the next 5 seconds. So the minor power gives your spells and abilities have a chance to increase your versatility by 14 seconds. It stacks 8 times, and when you're the victim of a loss of control or movement impairing effect, that gives you a stack of Strife. So it just gives you a bunch of verse all the time, which is really good. Verse is good for Windwalker, and it gives you this really awesome and cool ability that's very useful. It's probably the most playstyle changing of all of them. It's so playstyle changing that instead of going Fist of the White Tiger, you most likely will go Ascension, just because it gives you more energy, which you need because this thing costs 40 energy, and it gives you more max chi, which you're going to need too, because it generates twice as much chi as Fist of the White Tiger per minute, which is pretty ridiculous. So if you don't PvP or you don't know what reverse harm is, it's an ability where it's 40 energy cost, 10 yard range, 10-second cooldown. It heals a friendly target for 8% of their max health, and it does 100% of that amount healed to the nearest enemy as nature damage within 5 yards. So it's a 10-yard range, and then it has a 5-yard on the damage range. Kind of weird, but it also generates 2 chi. It's very good. How you want to use that in raids is just heal the main tank as much as possible. Heal whoever is tanking, and has whoever has like 8% health, at least 8% health missing, and has the largest amount of health. You want to heal that person with this and deal damage. More often than not, that'll be the tank, but it could be someone else as well. You could even heal yourself, as long as you're in 5-yard range of an enemy that you want to do damage to. That's pretty much it. But to show it here a little bit, I'll use my Lurker's Insidious Gift, take some damage, heal myself up, and the reverse harm only does damage based on what you healed. So if you heal someone at 95% HP, it only will heal for 5%, and thus only do 5% health and damage. So make sure to not heal a full health target, because then you'll be sad. You'll see here I've lost a lot of health because of my lurkers. Put myself up, 28k damage. Very good. I don't know, it seems like the uptime on Strife is very high right now. It's gonna be like 400 verse all the time. Really good. It probably won't stay like that, but you also can see it gives me 376, and then if I stun a target, it should go up. Yeah, it goes up to 20%. It's quite good. So even just the essence outside of the PvP essence or PvP talent part is very good. But you really like when you use this essence as Windwalker, you really want to watch out and try to heal as high a health a target as possible. You may want to make a macro that just heals the current tank on cooldown. Whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, go for it. I think it's going to be a really good essence. Probably the best so far. The second one is Condensed Life Force. This one got nerfed recently, but I like this one a decent amount for Windwalker. It lines up nicely with Storm Within Fire and makes sure Storm Within Fire is stronger. So this one, how you use it, you basically use it on cooldown. It summons a guy. That guy will do damage every 2 seconds, and every 8 seconds he'll do an AoE volley. And the AoE volley is important because of the minor power, where when an Azerite spike deals damage, meaning when he casts his Azerite spike, all the damage you deal against that target is increased by 5% for 6 seconds. So for Windwalker, it's good because you double dip on your touch of death damage. That's really nice. Use them on cooldown. The 3-minute cooldown is a little bit weird, but he also, the major power will also give you about 10% haste for the duration. So you get 10% haste for 30 seconds during your cooldowns. That can be pretty useful as well. I think this is probably like the second or third most useful major power, but it's not much going on with it. You just use it on cooldown, it summons a dude, and then you just punch things, and he just fires his volley at it. As you see, it's a 5% damage. This used to be 10 before this build, now it's 5%, so it's not as good, but it's still, I think, pretty nice. I just don't know how you're going to line him up with your cooldowns after the pull, but if you could find a way to do that, he might be pretty strong. He's a very easy essence to use, I should say, I guess, because there's not much thought that goes into using him. You kind of just use him, and then he does his thing. With reverse harm, there's a lot of thought that goes into what you're doing and who you're healing and kind of thing. So if that's intimidating to you and you want to do something that's easier, this might be an option that you want to look for. What else? So for major power, I think Blood of the Enemy is okay, but in this recent PTR build, it got nerfed quite a bit. It doesn't seem as powerful as it once was. The main issue before was that both of the effects here, so the 25% crit chance against targets and the crit damage, both lasted 15 seconds. Now the crit chance lasts 10 and the crit damage lasts 5. So it makes it harder to take advantage of the benefits from that. You may be able to change how you use it as Windwalker to take advantage of it. Maybe use it in the last 5 seconds of Storm and Fire, and then you're losing 10 seconds off the crit chance. So I don't really know. It seems kind of weird, but if you're big brain enough, maybe you can take advantage of it. The minor power is okay, but not particularly amazing for our class. Our crit's okay, but haste isn't particularly amazing. This one's potentially good, but it's hard to say after the nerfs. And then with the last, so Vision of Perfection. I want to touch on Vision of Perfection for Windwalker. Apparently, from what I'm hearing, is that they changed it and like they fixed the problems it had. So the issue that you ran into before with Storm and Fire and Vision of Protection major power was that it would proc during, say, off like a Fist of Fury, and the spirits would just stand there and do nothing. They would just be like, hey, what's going on? And then you'd be just really mad at them. Apparently, they changed it so that they just do whatever you're doing as soon as they're summoned. So they'll replicate your Fist of Fury cast if it does proc off that. That's good if it does happen. The second issue was that they procced during Storm Earth and Fire, it would cancel your Storm Earth and Fire, but they fixed that a while back. So this has potential to be okay. It's just the problem with it from Windwalker's perspective is that if you're not fitting a Fist of Fury and like a Whirling Dragon Punch into this proc, it's kind of wasted. Like if you just get a proc off the Tiger Palm and you do Blackout Kick Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick Tiger Palm during the whole proc, it's just kind of pointless. As a major power. So I'm not really quite sure how useful this will be. It is important to note that this does work with Serenity, which could be potentially good. But it is Serenity, which is, I mean, we all know how bad it is. So it really doesn't seem that good. But if at some point down the line, if Serenity ever gets buffed, maybe this will see use a lot more. I think that's pretty much it for major powers. Far as I can tell. No, I want to mention this one. It is not that good, but it is easy to get and easy to use. Crucible of Flames damage, as far as I could tell, does contribute to Touch of Death. So it adds like a little bit of damage to Touch of Death. It could be okay. It is instant cast. It doesn't really require much from you other side just using it on cooldown and lining it up with stuff. It's not too bad, but it isn't the best option. The clear winner is Conflict and Strife. If you have to do some rated PvP for it. But it's definitely worth it and the best essence right now by far. On the minor powers, so the best minor power for Windwalker, I would have to say, let's see. Let's go through them here. Memory Lucid Dreams. The minor power for this is actually pretty useful. It gives us energy, but it also gives you versatility for 8 seconds when it refunds. Now getting a refund as Windwalker isn't particularly impactful because you're just going to get refund on Tiger Palm or whatever. But there's potential that next season, because we're using so much more energy with reverse arm, that having an energy refund might be useful. The problem you run into down the line here, though, is that if you get too many refunds, you're just capped on energy and chi, and then you don't know what to do. I think in AoE, this minor power is going to be pretty good, just because getting the versatility proc's pretty nice, and the energy refund in AoE is actually pretty good, because you have like a 1-to-1 spend build ratio with that. That seems really strong. Let's see. Oh yeah, Ripple in Space. So this minor power has potential to be really good with Windwalker in like every situation. It gives you 5% move speed, and when you move more than 25 yards within 4 seconds, which is really easy for Windwalker to do, you get 540 agility for 20 seconds. Now this only has a 30-second cooldown, so it's about 75% uptime on this buff. That's pretty good. The issue that I found on the PTR right now, the last time I tested here, was that the minor power of this was not actually working at all. If I rolled, it didn't work. If I used Serpent Kick, it didn't work. If I just like used Tiger's Lust and ran in a straight line, it wouldn't work. So I'm pretty sure it's just broken. It is a little bit concerning because this is a release candidate build. But if this does work on release, then I think this is actually really good. The extra primary stat you can gain all the time. And then like during a raid, you could put down a Transcendence, like so, and then you could like roll out and activate it. That's not like working at all. I don't really know what it wants from me. But you could like roll out, activate it, and then TP back in, and then you could TP back out at the again once it comes off cooldown, and then you could just Serpent Kick back in. It'd be pretty good. Let's see. Unbound Force, minor power, has potential to be pretty useful. If you don't have a lot of crit chance, which in my current gear right now, I do not have that much crit at all. It gives you, when ability fails to crit, it gives you a stacking buff that gives you 70%. Once you reach 20 stacks of this buff, it gives you 70% crit chance for 4 seconds. Pretty useful, pretty nice. Little bonus. The easiest minor power, and probably the overall most useful, is Vision of Perfection's minor power. Gives you CDR on your cooldowns, Earth and Fire. Gives you increased versatility, flat baseline. And when you activate some Earth and Fire, it heals you for 5% of your max health. Pretty nice. But those are the ones I would look out for. Essence of the Focusing Iris is kind of not great, mainly just because it's a cast time plus a channel. So it's good for specs that have really low impact globals and also that have like a lot of downtime where they're not really doing anything. This could be okay. It's just it's such a awkward thing to fit in, right? Like, because you have to cast it and then you have to channel it, and like when do you do this? And the minor power for Windwalker isn't particularly great, is because the haste you get is that useful. Purification Protocol, this one is just straight damage. I don't really think this is that useful from what I could tell. Well, at some point it was really good because it was doing a large amount of damage, but I think the damage at this point has been nerfed enough where it's not that good. This has potential to be like a niche thing if it is actually good, but it doesn't have any synergy with what we do, so I'm not really quite sure. And then World Vein Resonance. This has potential in Raid to be good, but not in Mythic Plus. Because in Raid, when you use this, you gain the benefit from everyone else that's using it, so you can get it like basically a permanent like 600 primary stat the whole time of the fight, which is nice. But yeah, it's outside of Raid and like stationary fights, I don't see it being that useful, but it could be. Anyway, that's the essences. I don't know. I think they're pretty good. I don't know. What do you guys think?